we're asked to do. Other weeks you've got, intermittent, you've got some lighting projects, you've got some AV projects, but Wi-Fi consistently
Networks.
every week.
Every week.
Every week. And it's something that that needs solved. It's still the biggest frustration in any home. But once you solve that, it opens the gateway for all the tech. All the tech can come through. So Wi-Fi is like the Trojan horse.
Right.
And yet it is overlooked. This heavy reliance on the internet providers, modem, router. We expect a lot from that.
Right.
But yet we absolutely lose our minds when the Wi-Fi goes off. But yet we've kind of stacked everything up on top of a cheap, freebie router or modem.
I got something for you. I got something to talk about today from what I saw about this past weekend. Let's do this.
Yeah, let's go.
Digital Ramblers, how are you? Welcome back to the Digital Ramble Show. I am JJ Cannon, your co-host, and I'm joined by my good friend Kris Gamble. How are you, buddy?
Hey, JJ, good to see you. I'm glad to see you back from the CEDIA Expo in Dallas. I know you had a good time out there and saw some of our friends and past guests and listeners to the podcast.
I absolutely love the CEDIA Expo. It's rejuvenating. It's exciting. You see new products, and you see all of your friends that are in the industry around the country, around the world, Gamble, and you bounce ideas off of each other. You talk about the peaks and the valleys, of business ownership and technology. Man, it just gets you all going. So yeah, man, super excited about going to the next one, because I think you're going to join me at the next one. And it's going to be in Denver, Colorado. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, that's definitely on my list. It's already in my diary for next year. And, one thing from watching from afar this year, and it kind of ties in with our episode, but in a different kind of way, it looked like the networking was the big takeaway from this year. The business to business networking, the pro to pro networking, manufacturer to installer networking. But today we're going to talk about your home network, your Wi-Fi network, the connection of products in your home, and how really your Wi-Fi system is the most integrated product and platform in the home. It is that glues everything together. We've talked about, your doorbell talking to your lighting system. We talked about music systems talking to streaming platforms, but none of that happens, JJ, without the home network.
Yeah, absolutely, Gamble. We've said this on almost every episode, but the network is the foundation for everything else that it's built on. The network, you said it best earlier, the network is non-negotiable.
Yeah, we, for a long time now, I would say 4 or 5 years, I won't even consider a project unless I've had my hands on the network. I need to understand what I'm building on top of, because without weak foundations of a DIY, homemade, my friend helped me, my brother-in-law helped me set up the Wi-Fi. I just can't put my expertise on top of shaky foundations.
Yeah, I mean, I had a client call me this past weekend, just, JJ, please get over to my house. For some reason, my network's not working. I cannot work from home. Client has a beautiful home. It's an environment that's conducive to what she wants to do. And if you don't have to go to the office, you definitely won't work from home, but you have to have dependable and reliable network to do that.
Well, this is what was exposed during lockdown measures, working from home becoming very much the normal. It exposed one, slow internet speeds and the limiting factor that can have, that can be overcome. The second one was the coverage of your network and how that became a limiting factor of where you could be at your most productive.
Yeah.
And then the third one was how many devices can run on this network as once. because if it was working from home, schooling from home, playing at home, you know, gaming, voice messaging, streaming content, it just ground to a halt without having a robust, reliable, and secure network. And that's something that JJ and I in our individual businesses and all the other pros in the home technology space, we we've become specialists in home Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
We've identified products that we turn to every time. And I would say in a lot of cases, some companies dabble between different amplifiers and different TVs and different lighting products. But when it comes to the network, I guarantee most of them have just a one single brand that they prefer for wireless access points, network switches, the router.
Yeah.
Let's stick to one pool of product.
And Gamble, I'm so glad that you brought that up. It never fails. If I go into a new client's home and they're having network problems, they'll have like 3-4 different types of manufacturer networking gear, and they're just not made to. I've never figured out how to make them work reliably with each other, and sometimes the vocabulary, like in the setup, that's really challenging, even for a professional trying to decipher one setup screen from one manufacturer to the next, because the vocabulary is different. And so it's just easier if you use a product that's uniform. My choice, and everybody knows, as part of the Keeping It Reals package, is Eero. And Eero works reliably and great. We actually saw them at their booth here at CEDIA this past weekend. Oh my gosh. Some of the stuff that they're coming out with, Gamble, these days is just exciting and I'm very enthusiastic about it because it solves a lot of problems. And I bet you're seeing products over there, find solutions and creating new experiences for your clients as well.
Well, just on the Eero, for me, just looking at it from somebody that uses another brand that's so full of options and different capacities of network switches, different speed capacities, different options for product placement. I always looked at Eero and thought, there's a lot of gaps there. There's a lot of products that I've still got to use another brand for maybe a switch. I've got to use another brand for maybe PoE injection. It looks like what they've introduced at the Expo is starting to fill some of those gaps, which they were a great wireless access point and router solution. But did they have some of the other brands? So just to explain a little bit more what you saw at the Expo, have they brought out a switch, PoE switch?
Yeah, so Eero is a wireless mesh company, and what they do is they allow you to distribute your internet throughout your property, whether it's inside or outside of your house. And Eero was established back in like 2014, I believe is what it was. And we started using Eero shortly thereafter. And the reason was other manufacturers just weren't as easy to use, nor were they as reliable. And sometimes the speeds weren't even close to matching the types of speeds that we could get out of the Eero product. So it really made us engaged and latch on to their product. Also, their customer support was accessible and explanatory, and that's really important for our business. As a business owner, installing wireless mesh is like, if I have a problem, I need somebody to talk to. And so that's what's put us onto Eero. That's what's kept us with Eero. And Eero over the time has continued to invest in its own self and expand upon its market and its market share. And one of the eye-opening things for me, Gamble, is not only over time have they released new products with speeds that can go up to a gig, now 2.4 gig, and even they have a couple of 10 gig ports on this new switch that we're getting ready to talk about. But they're starting to collaborate with other products. And the big one, and we mentioned it last week, was the Ring Alarm, and then their new Ring Alarm Pro they have an Eero built into it. And what's really exciting about that is Eero is going to be releasing a software version upgrade of the Eero Internet Backup. What do you think about that?
So
Eero
backup using cellular or
Eero Internet Backup. That, I mean,
okay.
whenever you sit and think about that, that might just kind of go right over your head. But this is like kind of a holy grail of what people have
So
wanted.
backup with battery as well. Is it
Well,
true backup?
well, in the Ring alarm,
Because
it'd be a
the alarm is a
backup,
battery. Yeah.
but in the Eero devices themselves, through a firmware update, and I don't know if it's only with the Eero 6 devices and going forward, but all those devices, if the internet provider is lost, then the Eero device itself would then be able to connect to a cellular service
Mm.
to give you Eero internet backup. And there's going to be if you have that Eero Plus, if you're an Eero Plus subscriber, then that's just part of the package.
Yes, I'm very interested in some of these bolt-ons that you can add. You know, traditionally you wouldn't think about your home network having options. You know, your alarm system, yeah, monitoring, warranty, battery backup. You know, calling a friend, neighbor. You know, whatever with your issues, and same with you know, music systems, subscribing to maybe get HD music and all these kind of features. But when you think about it, what could you get more from your Wi-Fi? Crikey, if I could pay a little bit more and get backup,
Right? Yeah.
whether that's some kind of UPS or whether that's some cellular 4G, 5G satellite backup, then, you know, as there are integrations with cellular providers, there are integrations with people like Starlink.
Right.
I've actually seen there's an internet provider in the UK. I think it's Talk, which should be mean nothing to you, but in the UK, quite a big ISP, and they now offer the Eero router. I don't know which model, but they offer that as the default product that you get with your subscription. So that link up with internet providers means even if I went into a home and that's what I had to work with, I wouldn't be so standoffish because it's one of the things that I'm a bit like, maybe I'll do the job, but we have to change the network.
Right. Oh.
You know, Kris, you're so, what's the matter? Tell me what's stopping you from getting stuck in? I don't like your network. You know, I'm like that. I want to own the network before I put in the music system and put in gaming, TVs, all that kind of stuff, because you're just going to tell me it sucks, but it's not my fault
Yeah.
if it starts buffering because you've got a POS router, you know.
Yeah, and the parts that these routers and modems, well, this isn't a modem, but it's a router and wireless device. The parts and pieces that it's built with is crucial, just like the other
Mm.
manufacturers that we represent. I mean, the quality control on that product is excellent. Gamble, I have never. Let me find some wood. Big statement. I've never had a bad Eero device out of the box ever. I don't. I've probably installed over 1,000 of them. I don't want to say
Wow.
2,000, but yeah, the success rate of them is incredible. I think the only problems that I've ever had was the power supply went bad because of some kind of little brownout. You know, little electrical
Yeah,
bump.
crikey. You say that. I had an exact phone call today with a customer that the sounds like the power supply has failed on their Ubiquiti router, but we had a workaround ready and we'll resolve that in the next 48 hours. But you know, reliability is, you know, that goes without saying. Everything that we talk about and the brands that we work with, we've scrutinized them for reliability because we don't want to pass that on to our customer base. But one thing that we can talk about the product, we can talk about, you know, the access points and all the speeds that it does. But still, for me, going back to my roots has been a data cabler, somebody that ran wires to the highest standards for the military and for commercial telecommunications, you could buy the best products in the world, but put it onto cabling that's substandard. And this week, particularly, highlighted that to me, where very recently a customer had another contractor come in and run some cabling throughout their house, done a very neat job to try and deliver this super fast internet that they had coming, this fiber connection they had coming into their house. They had 1,200 megabits per second download speed and about 1,000 megabits per second upload speed. So ridiculous speeds.
That's moving.
They'd run Cat 5e throughout this house, and Cat 5e has a limitation.
Yeah, it works.
Typically,
it works, but it won't get you where you want to go. That highway is too narrow.
We found that, at certain points where we were plugging in to test speeds, it was only getting 60, 70 meg download speed. We found network switches that were installed that were only 10/100 megabits per second capable. And the only place that the customer was getting the true speeds were when they were right next to the internet provider's modem. So we saw the frustration and said, look, we can't work with this products that you've had fitted. And they'd paid more than what they were going to pay us for the new network. I didn't really take advantage of the situation there, I should have. But we put in Wi-Fi 6 access points capable of handling much, much more speeds, because there's more speeds going to come from that provider. It's 1,200 megabits per second today. They've got fiber. They can request much quicker speeds in the future from that provider. We put in network switches and linked them with fiber. So the communication between network switches was by fiber, 10 gigabit per second.
Dang.
The ports on the network switches are capable of 2.5 gigabits per second. And ultimately, anywhere you went in this house, when you were pulling out your phone, okay, there's limitations maybe to the device, but when we were plugging in our laptop to network ports, we were pulling in, 1,150. We were, Wi-Fi, even with a crappy iPhone 7 or whatever, it was pulling in 650 meg, 575 meg, and the customer was just wowed. What we also were then able to do, because this is issues they had just with the way it was configured, and this is why you need a pro, not just any pro, a pro with a track record with networking. We were then able to reintroduce the Sonos system, reintroduce their set-top boxes from their TV provider, reintroduce their smart TVs to the new Wi-Fi, and everything. You could see the face of the customers. The music was playing in 5 rooms. The connections were coming up faster for viewing their cameras, and TV streaming was what they thought they were going to get when they got the super fast internet. So, I've said enough, but ultimately it was because of cabling and the poor technical skills of the previous installers and some equipment choices as well.
Yeah, networking is very much like audio and video, and you have to have the correct cabling from source to finish all the way through. Whenever you put in a 4K television and a surround sound system, from the source has to output the appropriate 4K. You got to go into a 4K cable. Your surround sound receiver has to produce or allow pass through of 4K to the other 4K cable to the 4K television, and your network works exactly the same way. If you want gigabit speed, you have to come in with the gigabit. You got to use gigabit capable cables. You need to use gigabit capable network switches, and then you need gigabit capable distribution mesh points or access points throughout your house, and then devices that can handle it.
You've also got to adhere to cabling standards.
Yeah.
We saw cables under, in some cases, cables were under strain, cables poorly terminated onto wall sockets, or the connectors on the end, the crimps. Again, the cabling was neat. On the surface, it looked great. They'd spaced out their clips nice and evenly. They'd nice straight lines going up the walls of the building. But when they got to the end points, no labeling, no test results. We give our customers a spreadsheet, test results, length, a wire map, a little PDF document of what basically their network. So if
Yeah.
we ever couldn't service that for whatever reason, somebody could take that over and say, this is great. Who
Yeah.
was the previous installer? We love these guys. Because that's that professional attitude that somebody's going to come along behind you one day and you could take over something that you've left. So you're just there to do the best you can, but you might never come back again.
Yeah. Leave the next person with a good blueprint, a good map, some ease of mind. Man, Gamble, and the reason that you preach that is because we come behind sloppy jobs all the time, and when we do come behind some good quality jobs, it's very relieving. And usually it's not a problem with the wiring. It's something something with the device. Over at Cedia Gamble, they had two other devices. They were hardware devices. And Eero, they're always releasing something, maybe once a year, I guess, once every 14 months. But at Cedia this year, they released two new devices, and they're doing PoE devices. And the first one was their Eero Pro 6. And it's a wireless, it's a PoE powered wireless mesh puck that you'd mount on the wall or on the ceiling. It's something that we've coveted. A true PoE mesh point is something that we've requested from Eero for many years. And this thing's gonna be nice, man. It's gonna cover 2,000 square feet. It's gonna handle up to 100 devices, which was also a major problem whenever COVID came out. Is like, man, all these stinking devices that are needing to have some bandwidth. How are you going to be able to do it, or do your devices are they even capable of handling that? And the answer is,
or it has commercial opportunities as well, where you have higher density cafes, bars.
Absolutely. And then also they came out with this Eero PoE gateway, and it's that network switch, and they have two ports on there that are 10 gigabit, and I believe the other ports are that 2.5. And so it allows a broad door of data to flow through, in a blink of an eye. And the power on that thing is like 100 watts of power, so it'll power up any PoE device that you might have. And so, digital ramblers might be wondering what that other device might be, and I guess a security camera would be the easiest one, top of mind, that could also get power off that PoE switch.
That's definitely the most common one that's using power over Ethernet. The other one would be a VoIP telephone.
Yeah.
People working from home, they think they also need the power cable and an adapter, but no, you can have a single cable coming into your VoIP telephone, and then a cable out of that into your desktop
Computer,
PC, your docking station, which is what you've probably got in your office. And it's those types of scenarios that we need to start introducing into the home. It is, look, I went to a project today, and I kind of went to it just to humor myself. I needed a bit of cheering up, maybe. But I went there. I knew what I was going to find. Woefully inadequate, underprepared building that had the opportunity to run some cables. And I've kind of caught it at the last minute that the architect should know better. The builder should know better. The electrician should know better. The client is asking for, I want Wi-Fi throughout the house. I want connections for TV, for gaming, and all these things. What do they give them? Like 2 network points in the whole house, 6-bedroom home, outbuildings, large garden. Come on, what? I've got to come and save the day again?
Gamble, I went to we're working on a 4-story beach house. So this place is already 20 feet off the ground, and then it's 4 stories on top of that. And whoever they used ran coax to the TV locations only, and 2 pieces of network, just like what you're talking about. And, it's a 4-story house. The other kicker, bro, they didn't even run service.
Oh,
So what that means is that when your internet service provider comes to provide you with internet service, they need a wire to get service into your home run panel that then distributes it to the whole house. Well, they didn't have that one wire that then distributes it. Oh, Lord. Folks, if you don't know,
yeah.
make sure you get a second, sometimes a third opinion when it comes to technology. And Gamble, we get run through, and I'm cool with getting ran through, and having clients try to make the best decision for their technology needs, and interviewing me to see if I'm the right guy. And honestly, that's appreciated on my part as well. I want to make sure that whoever's I'm working with, they're wanting to work with me, and that I am providing them with the solutions that are best for their needs. And so, but man, get a second, a third opinion. And I mean, I know the builder's trying to do right, but sometimes when it comes to cutting some corners, that technology aspect of it could be one of the first things on the chopping block.
Well, it's cutting corners, but it's also some ignorance. It's also a lack of education that they're not keeping up. It's more ignorance. I genuinely believe it's now becoming ignorance because, for goodness sake, what do they do in their own home?
Wow.
What headaches do they get if their kids can't watch something on Disney Plus, or they can't video call their accountant, or they can't, other members of the house can't work from home or school from home? They know fine well that it's so important. It's on par as one of the most important utilities, internet, with power and water. It's got there. It's got there.
It is there.
It's quickly, in the last 10 years, it's very quickly caught up with the other utilities. That it's only, and it's highlighted even more if you don't have a cellular service. And yet they allow these in some cases, multi-million-pound homes run so close to the brink of disaster, and somebody, do we need to run any other cables? Oh, quick, let's find a local home technology professional. Let's Google search, and then they find us, or they ask around. They say, yeah, these guys are good, and these girls are good. They'll come and save the day. How much can we take on our shoulders, rescuing these luxury homes? Just let them push. I just feel like pushing some of them over the edge and saying, go live like a caveman.
Throttle back. Well, it's been a long day for Gamble. He barely made it to the show. He needs a shower and a hot
4-hour drive. 4-hour drive. I could have flown to Houston.
No doubt. No doubt. All right, Digital Ramblers. Well, that does it for episode 146. And we greatly appreciate you tuning in every week to listen to us chatter about home technology solutions for our clients and things that we think might benefit you.
Yeah, and just the catchphrase of the show, I just love it. I even say it to customers myself now. If you don't know, ask a home tech pro about Wi-Fi, lights, music,
all of it. Just ask.
We know so much. Just ask us. Yeah.
All right, friends. Have a good week, and check us out on our website, digitalrambleshow.com, or send us an email, digitalrambleshow@gmail.com, and tell a friend to listen to our podcast. We are on 11 streaming services. You cannot miss us if you look up Digital Ramble Show. Thank you for tuning in. Till next week, have a fantastic week, friends.